What's up, DC Nation? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the second video on Batman the Detective. Written by Tom Taylor, arts by Andy Kuberts. In this story, an older Batman leaves Gotham to go investigate a murder mystery in Europe. So far, it's a very interesting story, one that I'm excited to get back into and explain to you guys. Picking up in issue number 2, we start with Batman throwing a man out of a clock tower. Batman holds the man, having full control over the criminal's life.
Who are you working for? Tell me.
Batman says, I don't know. Please, I'm not lying. I don't want to die. The criminal says,
Tell me what you do know.
Batman says, gritting his teeth. She wears a mask. She pays well, the criminal says before the rope that Batman is holding by snaps. The criminal yells as he falls to the ground. The rope barely catches him before he dies. Batman saves him. The criminal gets up and immediately takes off running. Hey, your guy is getting away, the squire says. That's the idea. We'll get more answers from him this way, Squire. I have a tracker on him. Batman says, really? All that was to get him to run away? That's so elaborate. The Squire says, how old are you? Batman asks. 14, Squire responds. Ah, perfect age to be a Robin. I mean, you should be at home. Batman says, you want me to be at home by myself? That's a little irresponsible, Squire states. You don't have parents, Batman says as he walks with Squire to the Batmobile. If I do, they've kept quiet. I live with knights. It's not a bad life. We live in a huge house, help people. I don't have a bedtime. Did you just have this car in England already? Squire asked. I have cars in most major cities. You know why? Because I'm Batman. Anyway, why do you stay with Beryl? I was with the foster family. They were lacking, Squire states. Lacking as parents? Lacking as human beings. I'd tell you about it, but let's just say they were a bit cliched in their cruelty. The perfect balance of gruel and neglect. Then one day, Beryl showed up at my house to rescue me, Squire says. Now Batman then asks a very important question. Why you? Judgmental much? Why not me? Squire states. From here, Batman meets up with Beryl at the hospital. Batman tries to find out why Beryl chose Amina to be Squire. She's talented and she was hurting, is all Beryl tells him. Have they been treating you well here? Batman says. Beryl tells him the hospital's been treating her great. How did you find this hidden hospital? She asked. 10 years ago, a mentor with a lot to hide brought me here when I was losing blood. They treat the patients, no questions asked. I've needed their help more than once since. The people trying to kill you won't find you here, and I intend to shut the killers down before you're out, Batman says. Now before moving on to the next scene, I would like to acknowledge how great this scene is. Involving Ducard is always cool, but the history of the hospital makes the quick trip into Batman's past even more intriguing. Now from here, we go to France. The man who Batman let go walks into a room telling his superiors that he escaped the Batman. You expect me to believe you escaped from Batman? The Batwoman says. It wasn't easy. I almost died. If Batman hadn't caught me, I would have. Strip him down, the Batwoman yells. Multiple men with white bat costumes strip the criminal down till he's naked. The criminal tells his superiors that everything's fine. He's not bugged. We'll see, Matthew, the Batwoman says. She then uses X-ray goggles and sees the tracker is inside the criminal. The Batwoman tells her group to begin preparation so they can leave. Can I have my clothes back, please? It's cold out here, the criminal says. You're not coming with us, the Batwoman says, walking up some stairs. Why? We can get rid of the bug. I can still help, the criminal says. You said you almost died. Yes? But Batman saved you. Yes, I mean, no! The criminal says as the Batwoman pulls out a gun, pointing at his head. You shouldn't resist. The Batwoman says, shooting the criminal Matthew in the head. He falls back dead. We switch to Bruce on a train. He makes it to an area where he finds a trail. Bruce goes out the window and follows the trail onto the same train he was at like a couple minutes ago. He sees someone up ahead. He keeps running and eventually makes it inside the train. Now, I want to know on something that happened before he made it inside the train. We see Bruce like jumping, he's running, but we get this cool image of him jumping and lightning just striking behind him. And it really reminds me of that iconic image from The Dark Knight Returns. You guys know that cover where Batman is just jumping and there's lightning behind him and you see just Batman's silhouettes. Where here we just see more of Bruce's silhouettes. But I get what Tom Taylor was trying to go for, and it's awesome. Now, when Bruce makes it into the train, he finds Henry Ducard, his old mentor, who taught him pretty much almost everything about fighting. Now, Ducard assures Bruce that his secret identity is fine. Everyone has been moved in the train, so they can have a private section. How did you know I was on this train? Bruce says. I've been following you since yesterday. I figured you'd be in England after a plane went down and someone signed your name on the scene. But there are more murderers than you know about. I've been quietly putting them together for a few weeks. There's a group killing people you saved. The media will make the connection soon. There'll be a panic. Everyone you've ever saved will fear for their lives. Were you planning on contacting me when you got to France? Ducard asks. No, Bruce says. Really? You don't think I could be useful in tracking these people down? Bruce, there's a fine line between a loner and idiots. You're good, very good, one of the two best I've ever trained. But you want to know why you're not as good as me. It's because you think you have to do it all yourself. Just because you're left alone in an alley once doesn't mean you have to be alone forever. We saved all of London together once. I saved your life, Ducard says. I haven't forgotten, and I turned you in after, Bruce says. And I haven't forgotten that. Still, you're coming to my city. Ask a friend for help, Ducard says, looking Bruce straight in the eye. We're not friends. You're a killer. I would argue on both. But if it helps with your ethical conundrum here, just know more people will die without me. Also, I've been fully pardoned for all my known crimes. You should get back to your cabin before a porter tries to pick up your suitcases and gets a face full of nerve gas or something. Come find me tonight as a friend, but also bring a lot of money, Ducard says as he starts walking away with his suitcase. Where are you staying? Bruce says. You want me to just tell you? Where's the fun in that? Ducard says as he leaves. Now guys, I really like this interaction between Bruce and Ducard because Ducard is such an awesome character and he gets a really cool scene coming up. But from here we see Batman, he actually comes upon the area that we saw the Batwoman and her whole group, that where they were and where they shot the guy named Matthew, the criminal. And Batman finds this criminal Matthew dead on the floor, bleeding, he's naked, and the whole place is swept clean. So Batman is now just trying to find evidence and something he could use to track these people. Next, we switch to Ducard, who's at a hotel, and he's on a balcony. He's just looking at a cool view, and it's basically just Paris. Now, Ducard is smoking, and he says, "You worked it out, then." And behind him, we think it's Batman, but it's actually the Batwoman, the evil one. And she says, "No need. Part of your agreements with Interpol is keeping them apprised of your whereabouts. And I have people there." "You've been digging too deep, Ducard," the Batwoman says. "Have I?" Ducard says, smoking on his cigarette even more. "Also, you were once saved by the bats. which means you shouldn't exist, the Batwoman says, pulling out a gun. Now, we see multiple guns just aimed at Ducard, multiple people with bat costumes, white bat costumes, around him, and he's just sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he says, "You were always a bit unstable, but this is all kinds of messed up. I know what happened. What you're doing won't help. It's about equilibrium," the Batwoman says. "If you say so," Ducard says. Now, from here it gets awesome, guys. Ducard gets up and just takes the guns away and just starts smacking these bat people, right? And he starts shooting. You hear guns just a-blazing, right? He's shooting and he's just taking care of himself. It just shows how dope Ducard is. Like, this character is great. He does not get enough attention, and I'm happy that Tom Taylor is just showcasing him here and is giving Ducard some great spotlight. The Bat people try to push Ducard off the balcony, and above we see Batman. He starts swinging the knights, and the Batwoman says, "He is coming. Get ready to move." And Ducard says, "He has a hard time letting go, that one. You won't escape him." "Yes, we will," the Batwoman says as she points a gun at Ducard. Now we hear gunshots, 3 gunshots, and we see Batman's eyes get wide. "He'll be busy saving you," the Batwoman says as we see shots just get fired into Ducard. He falls off the balcony. Batman swings in, barely catches Ducard. He makes it down into an alleyway. We see lights all around Batman. He holds Ducard as Ducard bleeds out. "He always saves them," the Batwoman says as the Bat people, they get away. Ducard might be dead, and Batman might have lost the one guy who can help him take down these Bat people. These people who are so angry and against the Batman. And that is how we conclude issue number 2 of Batman the Detective. And guys, I gotta say, this series is awesome so far. Like, the tension at the end, it was very suspenseful, got me super hyped, and I really like Ducard getting involved with the story. Tom Taylor, how he sets it up, mentioning Ducard at the beginning of the issue, and then he shows up. Then we get a badass moment of him just fighting these Bat people. I'm just gonna call them Bat people because what else am I gonna call them? Like, the only thing they mention is that they're like the equilibrium, which me saying the equilibrium says this, it just don't work. So I'm just calling them the Bat people. But yeah, they're pretty good villains so far. I want them to be developed a little more, but I'm fine with it for now. And the cliffhanger gets me hyped for next issue. I'm excited, guys. And I want to mention the artwork by Andy Kubert. Even though Andy Kubert is not like my favorite artist, like, his style, it's just not my favorites, I still like his work here. It works well with the story, it fits the tone, and the action sequences look awesome. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna give this issue a 9 out of 10. I recommend it, guys. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Tom Taylor, if you're a fan of Ducard, if you really like Batman and you just want a good story, then pick this up at your local comic shop or pay for it on Comixology. But yeah, guys, tell me your thoughts on this issue down below. If you liked the video, give a big thumbs up. New channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next Batman the Detective video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.